So let's start with the first scenario, the customer and the logger class scenario. Now this scenario is very simple. The solution to this scenario is damn simple. But what we feel is that this scenario is very important to discuss. Why? Because it forms the stepping stone towards becoming software architects. Or in other words, if you want to write good code, if you want to design good software architectures, then definitely this scenario and the solution of this scenario is very important. So let's go ahead and discuss this scenario out. The scenario is very simple. We have a very simple customer data entry screen. You can see here it has two fields, customer name, the customer first name and the customer last name. And you can see that the project is basically a three-tier project. So the first one is a user interface, which is your ASPX page, which you can see on the screen. The second one is the business object. So basically what happens is, from the web form, just close this. So from the web form, on the button click, so we have a simple button here, insert. On this button click, the middle tier, the business object is invoked, the object is created, the value from the text boxes are set to the properties, that is customer first name and last name, and the add function is invoked. Now this add function, what it does is it actually goes and calls up the data access layer. So you can see that this is your second layer, that is your business object. So in the business object, it actually calls the data access layer, and data access layer finally does the insertion into the database. So a very simple project which does the entry of customer first name and last name into the project, and second, it has a basic three-tier architecture. So the question is now, where is the problem? The problem is actually in the middle tier or in the customer class. The customer class, whenever there are errors, for example, you can see that this customer class has an add function here, and inside the add function it calls the data access layer. Now in case there are any kind of issues while inserting into the database, the exceptions are routed to a method called as log error. So you can see that if there is any kind of problems while inserting into the database, it is those exceptions are caught, and those exceptions are routed to the log error function. And the log error function, what it does is it uses the stream writer and creates a simple log.txt file and basically writes those exceptions into the log.txt file. Now let's assume that the project gets a change request. The change request is with respect to the log error function. Currently the errors are only logged into the log.txt file or into the text files. Now the end customer also wants to log these exceptions into SQL Server. And further, the customer also says you that it's possible that tomorrow he would like to log these exceptions into other different kind of mediums, probably into event viewer, or probably would like to send an email or something. So now you have a challenge here. You would like to basically add new logging functionality to the project without disturbing this customer class. So in other words, you would like to now come up with a solution which will help you to add new logging functionality without changing the user interface code, that is the code which is related to this .aspx.cs, without changing the middle tier and without changing the data access layer. So in other words, when a new logging functionality needs to be added, you do not want to change code throughout the project. So how do you go about doing it?